Hello. My name is Shantanu, and let's talk more about logs. So, if you're a software engineer, one of the biggest problems is to manage logs of an application. And as your application scales, managing that becomes a bigger problem because you have a lot of memory that is consumed. You have a lot of resources that are consumed, and even querying becomes a problem. So, in this video, we'll talk more about what Parseable is and how Parseable is solving that problem for a software developer. And as well as we'll do a small demo kind of a thing, wherein we'll build a small application on Node.js. We'll install Parseable on our local system, and as well as creating a log stream from the Parseable UI, and finally ingesting those logs in Parseable. So let's get started. Okay, so let's get started and let's install Parseable on our local system. So there are multiple ways to do that, and one of them is the Docker container one. And if you're using a staging environment, if you're using a production environment, what I would recommend is go to the standalone installation methods and pick any one of them which is preferable for your tech stack. But since this is a tutorial and we are just exploring on how to play along with Parseable, how to ingest logs, so let's get started and install the Parseable on our local system. So to do that, navigate to Docker Quick Start Guide, open your terminal, and paste the code. Should take some time, and there you go. It has started. So as you can see, I have an address that's coming up, and I can just quickly browse. I can just quickly log into Parseable. Oh, I already have it open. There you go. So we have already set our default password, which is admin, and there it is. So simple, right? So all you have to do is just copy paste the command and run a Docker container. But please note, this whole Docker scenario would need Docker to be installed on a system. So if you're using Windows, if you're using Mac or Linux, irrelevant of your operating system, what I would recommend is go through the documentation of how to install Docker on a system, and that documentation is available in the description as well. And install Docker respective to your operating system, and then kickstart this process. This becomes more seamless and it helps you do a lot of stuff easily. Okay, so there you go. We have installed Parseable successfully on our system. So the next step for us is to create an application which will ingest logs to Parseable. But before we move to that, the most important aspect is to create a stream. So let's talk more about what stream is and what it does. So think about stream as a folder where all the logs are being stored. A name of a folder where all the logs of a particular application are stored. So let's first say you have a backend service. So you can name the log stream as backend service and ingest all the logs in the backend service. So for us, let's just quickly create test app log. And there are two types of schemas. One is dynamic. So based on the JSON that is being ingested, it will adopt the columns and the rows and the table schema. And if you're set up to static, you have an option to add the field names. But since we have the dynamic one, we'll be using this for now. And just click on create, and you have your first log stream successfully created. Now it shows no data available because we haven't ingested anything yet. So now let's get to our application and ingest some logs. So now this is our application. So essentially in this application, if you see, we have like a set of things that are happening. We are using Node.js to create this application. First things first, we have a function which is send metrics, and it just collects metrics from the system, wraps a couple of headers around, and then sends it in the body to the parsable URL. So this is one way to do it, and there is a library that has been created by one of our community contributors. Feel free to use that. You can also use that to ingest logs directly using Logger, using Morgan, or any other log generation. So we are just creating a random application which will just ingest logs directly to the application. We have two approaches here. One is the system will send logs in every 3 seconds. So these 3 seconds, in every 3 seconds, these are some random generated logs which will contain like system metrics, some performance metrics and stuff like that. And there are two endpoints that we have created. If you browse downside, there is one endpoint called generate success, and generate error. So two kind of endpoints wherein it just generates success and error. And you can just hit the endpoints to see if it's really working or not. So we'll test both of the scenarios and see how it works. So you can just clone this code. You can just clone this repository. It's available on our GitHub. The link is also in the description. So to do that, just type node app.js. Oh no, sorry. Before that, we need to change the log stream as well. So let's go ahead and change the log stream. So in this URL, at the end of log stream slash, we need to just put up the stream that you have created. So we have created the stream called test app logs, and the similar one is in our code. Okay, and this auth credentials, this can be this remains similar if you're using the local one, and you can change it based on the authentication type you already have set up. So if you're using a production app, you can create your own tokens and you can change it. Uh, the thing to note here as well is Parseable has a RBAC module, which is role-based control module. So if you have a developer who wants to ingest logs, you can put that granular permissions and create a different user and create their auth tokens and stuff. So that option is available and you can easily do that. So now since we have everything set up, let's quickly run our application. Okay, so the application has started. Perfect. So if you can see, these are some metrics that are generated by our system, and you can see this function that is system metrics converter, and it has been successfully ingested. Now, it, now let's see if it is really ingested or not. So let's move to our Parseable server, and there you go. So if you can see, the logs that are generated on the local system are actually being pushed up here. So you can see the tags that I've given up, you can see metrics that are given up, and these are the metadata that is classifying it. So yeah, this is how it works. Now let's go ahead and quickly test our endpoint as well. So to do that, let's quickly open up our code. Let's go to this URL because it will throw an error. Let's quickly type generate success log generate. So now if you go here and do a quick hard refresh, that log should also be ingested. So yeah, this is how it works, and this is how the log ingestion part works with Parseable. So yeah, I mean this is just one of the examples. You can also integrate Parseable with multiple applications, multiple clients as well. So if you're creating an application in Java, if you're creating an application in Rust or Go, we have we have the tutorials available on our documentation. So yeah, this is how Parseable works. This is how you ingest logs, a sample of Node.js application that we have created. Feel free to play along with it. Feel free to create your own application. Feel free to send us screenshots on our Slack channel, and we'll be more than happy to help you if you're stuck somewhere. So once again, thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach us out on our Slack channel, and our support team is there to help you out. And again, happy parsing, happy logging. Thank you so much for watching. Cheers.